Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Frank's Media and Reviews. And in today's video, we're going to do a little spectacular live stream of just horror movies that may be obscure, just you guys may not know about. And I brought some wonderful people who know the damn horror genre much better than me. They're just really in depth. And so really it's going to be just an educational show for me. Yeah, I love these guys, and I'm so glad to have one of them on for the first time. And so let's kind of get into it, guys. So today's guest, my first time on the show, is his name is Chris, and he's Bearded Film Guy. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on, dude. I am so psyched for this.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I love watching your videos, and you're so in depth and knowledgeable about the horror genre. So, yeah, man, I just can't wait to hear you talk about the horror genre. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem, buddy. Next guest is my man John from Let's Talk Entertainment and Media.
What's up, Frank? What's up, Chris? Happy to be here as always. I look forward to Tuesday. It's every single week just to do the show, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. As always, I appreciate you. So thank you again for joining. And last but not least, well, for right now, we have my good friend Daniel from the Cobwebs channel. Maybe you heard of him a little bit. What's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, very happy to be here. I've been a big fan of this series as you've been doing it. Really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, so I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, of course. And so we have another guest, and hopefully he will be joining here soon. He's maybe some technical difficulties, I believe, but hopefully, like I said, he can join, and then we'll just pop him in later on. But guys, yeah, again, today is going to be something that I looked forward to was a few weeks ago when I contacted you guys to try to talk about something that you guys are damn well knowledgeable about the horror genre and just deep diving. I watch your guys' content. Chris and Daniel and John. I mean, we talked about it in our videos before with the collectors corner and stuff like that. But just to get other voices to this deep dive of the horror genre and just movies that maybe people just don't know about. I mean, and so yeah, I just really love to talk to you guys about that. First off, really quick, I just want to let's go through the chat really quick. Ryan, thank you so much, Ryan. He put down everyone's links to their YouTube channel. So again, if you're not following them, what the hell are you doing? Follow them. They're wonderful people, and you guys will see them on the channel many times. So Ryan, yeah, thank you so much. Hopefully soon. Who the hell knows. And then Daniel, what's going on? And Terrifier 3, have you all seen that?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Chris, you haven't seen it yet?
Nah, dude, so my wedding party is in 2 days and we leave for Disney in 3 days. Worst time for something like this to come out because we've had no extra time at all.
Oh man. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Well, I definitely I want to know your guys's or at least your opinion about the film. And well, without any, I guess, spoilers, Daniel, what about you? You seen it? I saw your Instagram.
Yeah, man, I bought tickets early for opening night. I've been so excited for this because I love Terrifier 2. I absolutely love it. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't like it quite as much as 2. But it's a lot of fun. I put out a review for this movie and my comment section has been on fire. Like there are so many wild different opinions on this movie all over the place. Some people think you're like sick and demented if you like it. Some people think like it just has no story, blah, blah. And I don't think so. I think it has good characters, good story, enough of one at least to showcase a lot of wild practical effects and such. And I found it to be kind of tongue in cheek, and I didn't take most of the violence very seriously. So like, I didn't find it disturbing. I thought it was fun. And like me and my buddy were like laughing and having a good time watching it up to a point. It does have a couple of kills that I was just like, whew. That's why I think Terrifier goes above like the Hatchet movies, because the Hatchet movies are always just fun, goofy. They never like hit that point where it's like, oh man, this is serious. And the Terrifier movies, they get there a couple times.
What?
But
I don't know, man.
I had a good time.
So I just saw the first Hatchet. I haven't seen the others
yeah?
that are Victor Crowley yet, but I saw the first Hatchet, and holy shit! Like one of the kills. Hello, like I was like, what the hell?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
What
Has
was it? Was it this?
yeah.
I love that kill. Yeah. To me, that kill is just fun though, because it doesn't look. I don't know. It doesn't feel real to me. It's just a good time.
Has anyone seen Laid to Rest?
No.
Laid to Rest 1 and 2. So they're from, I want to say like the 2010 era, and it's take Hatchet and Terrifier, but make it more serious, and that's Laid to Rest. So definitely, if you're a fan of that extreme level that takes it very, very serious, both of those are great watches.
See, I don't think I do want that, honestly. Like that's why I'm
Yeah.
cool with the Terrifier movies. Is it doesn't it doesn't disturb me too much.
Chris goes to sleep to it.
Yeah. It's on standby right now.
It's on standby.
I'm not really as sick and demented as some of the comments on my Terrifier 3 video think I am.
Nah, man, you're like the Dexter. I swear to fucking God, Daniel. Like you present yourself like all wholesome, but like you know damn well you got like your little like blood little sample, the little your little things in a little box.
Every time Daniel watches something from Severin, he takes a little bit of blood, puts it in a vial, puts it in the case, it goes in the vent. Every time.
It helps keep me awake for those Severin movies. Very helpful.
Oh man, Allie, what's going on? Christian, hey, what's up? You go Niners, baby. Oh man, yeah, foosball, baby. Yeah, it's Jets had a
Go
close
for the
game.
Niners. Yeah, the Jets. Not talk about the Jets. All right.
Yeah, my bad. That's horrific enough. So
I can't even be excited about Devontae Adams.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good trade. What's going on, Jordan? And Christian and Ryan saying hello. What's going on? And I'm just trying to see Mr. Smelly Potato. Yeah, so guys, let's kind of just talk into it. What I want to start first is a little baseline is whoa, hold on guys, hold the phone. Boop. We got our man. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful, the Beyond Media. Great.
I'm so
Beyond
sorry.
Grave Media.
Oh God,
What's going on, buddy?
man, my inner sweating. My bad.
What? Yeah, man. How's it going?
It's good. My internet just freaking sucks. God.
It's all good, man. John knows. Was it last week or no? 2 shows ago, my damn internet when I was hosting just went crazy and computer or whatever. So it's all good, buddy. So yeah. So before I start, I want a baseline of. So if you guys know. Everyone here was in my video of just celebrating spooky season and what horror movie that they watch for Halloween. What I want to know is, and I already know a little bit about because Daniel and John, I already interviewed you guys, but what I want to know from everyone, like for those who haven't seen the videos or whatnot, is how did you guys get into the horror genre? I kind of want to have like a baseline and then kind of just go from there, because yes, the main topic, we're going to talk about obscure horror movies, just, recommendations, stuff like that. But I want to have a baseline because everyone knows me. I love the horror genre. People know how I got into it. And it's just something that I'm very passionate about. And and I always try my best to promote it, at least for have people just intrigued about the genre and everything else like that. But I know you guys are just as passionate, if not even more so than me. And so I'm going to start off with Chris, then I'll go John, Daniel, and then Josh. And so we'll go from there. But Chris, how did you start? How did you get into the horror genre?
How much time we got? So when I was a kid, it was mostly my mom. My mom's not like a horror buff, I would say. It's really the only type of movies she likes. And when I was a kid, I was not allowed to watch Friday the 13th, but I was allowed to watch The Exorcist and The Omen, which is a weird thing.
Because they're
to
Christian
happen.
movies.
Yeah. So I was allowed to watch those, and that was very traumatizing to me as a child.
Nice.
Yep. Yep. Extremely traumatizing. And then as I got older, I was very lucky where I grew up in the time where, especially for like collecting, like I bought Saw on DVD when it very first came out. So I kind of, as soon as I was old enough to kind of like rent movies on my own, we were getting into what we now refer to as like the torture porn era. So it was like the Saws, the Hostels, all of that stuff I started getting into. And I think that's why now I focus so much on like exploitation and grindhouse cinema, because that was a lot of my upbringing, was I would say a little bit more of the intense movies of the genre. And once you start diving into that, you can't help but get into like the monsters, going back to Universal to get into the Hammer stuff. You can't help but start exploring. And that's just kind of where I am now. I feel like this genre is so cool because there's always something new, always, and not just in physical media, but like I can go any direction to find horror of some sort and then get into a whirlwind where I'm just stuck there for a little while. And then I can kind of pull out of that and I can get into another one and I'm sucked in. And I'm the type of person, I just want knowledge. I want to learn and learn and learn and watch and just consume. And now it's got led to this behind me, which has cost me and my wife a lot of money. And it's kind of like this endless pursuit of, just trying to discover something new and learn some history along the way.
Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. Hell yeah. John, what about you, buddy?
I kind of told the story before, but for me, it was just at a young age. Me, my brother, my cousins, we just went to Blockbuster and we saw the cover for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, the whole series had been out by this point, but just seeing that cover, then we went and took it home, and I fell in love with just the horror genre. And my favorite era of horror always has been the 80s and just film in general. I love 80s film. And, the horror genre with Freddy Krueger, they're synonymous with each other. Without that, so for me, it was always the 80s horror that really, from there, I watched the Atom franchise, the classics that everyone knows. I didn't really deep dive until I got a little bit older, but at that young age, it was just the main slashers from the 1980s just made me fall in love with horror. And then, of course, like Poltergeist is another big one for me, like, Toby Hooper and Steven Spielberg. You can't go wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, what about you?
Well, I've always had this collection of blood samples in my house, and
I knew it, man. I knew it.
You did. Yeah, for me, it was the Universal Monsters. My dad showed me those when I was a little kid, and those were the first movies I was really obsessed with. So it was Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. And then like from recording them on TV, I kind of moved on to like Vincent Price movies and the Hammer stuff. But that was the only like the kind of horror that I could really handle. Anything like slightly more modern was way too scary. And my dad would show me stuff that was slightly more modern sometimes, and it would terrify me, absolutely terrify me. And then at a certain point, he showed me Poltergeist, and I really didn't want to watch it. I was really too scared, but he coerced me to watch it. And I loved Poltergeist, and I was surprised. And ever since then, like I've just loved horror, and it isn't something that like, horrifies me anymore. Yeah, and the rest is history, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Josh, what about you, buddy? You're on mute. Oh, Josh, you're on mute, buddy. Well, until he gets his volume, it's all good, buddy. Yeah, just try to figure it out. So for me, the reason why I wanted to ask that is because everyone starts off with a very popular movie, right? And then we get so intrigued about what the hell is next, like that can either scare me or just have that that feeling of maybe uneasiness that we really like, at least we are attracted to. And so, like, everyone knows, like, for me, Nightmare on Elm Street, that's where I got it. That's where I started with my dad, just when I was in kindergarten or pretty damn young. And it's 80s, man. My dad, parenting, they didn't give a shit. And so, and so, yeah, I had nightmares, but it was just something that I gravitated to. And so I remember at a young age seeing Nightmare on Elm Street. I saw The Entity, which is even more, which is even like really like even messed up. I mean, again, like my dad, like, and I remember seeing like Jason and stuff like that, but just like really, I don't know, just kind of just films that I just was really intrigued with. And so there we go, Josh. Hey, what's going on? So Josh,
is it working?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, really quick, is that how did you get into the horror genre?
Yeah, so my parents didn't know I was awake when I was probably 4 or 5, and they were watching Jaws. And it was the scene where like Ben Gardner's face comes down. I was like kind of watching from behind the chair, and that movie scared me to death and just like created this insane love for horror. Mm-hmm. And then my cousins made me watch like A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. That was my introduction to Freddy. And my dad was like, you can't watch this movie Ghost Story. It was like my parents' first date. And so it just snowballed. I just became obsessed. And they were always pretty cool about it. They tried to shield me from some of it, but they know I'm weird. So.
Yeah, and then also what you just touched upon, Josh, is that it's something that you shouldn't be watching, but you want to watch it, especially when an adult tells you, "Don't watch this. it's too scary," or the content isn't right, is suitable for the a young age children and stuff like that. So it's that intrigue, but I just want to talk about the horror genre and just you guys, really, you guys are just so damn knowledgeable. I just want to kind of sit back and listen to you guys because you all so damn wonderful to listen to. And like I said, if you guys aren't listening or subscribing to everyone here, definitely do it. So we talked about like the baseline of how we got into the horror genre. What I want to know is that what is your what is your favorite subgenre within the horror within horror, and then after that we'll kind of go into deep diving, and we can, if you want, we can just honestly just talk about our top 5, and then kind of just go from there. Because I know for me prepping for this video, I brought a whole bunch of damn movies, but there's also other movies that I don't have that I really want to talk about. Like one of them for me is, and I already told John to watch it, is 3 Extremes. That is it's a wonderful Japanese, Chinese, and Korean just mashup anthology film that I just love, and it's I love talking about, and I made John watch it. So anyway,
I loved it. It was great.
For real? Yeah, man. So really quick, Chris, again, I'll start with you, go from John, and so forth. What is your favorite subgenre within horror?
It's really hard. I would say probably a toss up between slasher and exploitation. I feel like a lot of these kind of cross the line into other genres often and are constantly, intermingling. But I feel like you could ask me that in 6 more months and I'd tell you a completely different answer. So as of right now, that's my concrete answer.
Mm-hmm. I know that's you, Chris. I think that's your cat, isn't it?
Is there a meow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my cat somewhere.
I knew it, man. Yeah, no, it's all good, buddy. I love seeing your kitty on the videos.
I don't know where he's at.
He's gonna pop out of nowhere. He's gonna jump.
I know
up.
he just jumps up out of. Yeah, I've been waiting for it the whole time. Honestly.
That's another subgenre. No, it's John, what about
you'll actually see me jump. If he jumps up here suddenly, I will jump hands down.
Hell yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Yeah, exactly. John, what about you?
For me, I would probably say like more like psychological horrors, psychological thrillers. Like that's kind of the line I like to go to most, and then slashers too. Like those are the two big ones for me. Like 80 slashers is where I started, but I progressed a little bit more. Like there's other ones like I never really like the Saws of the world. I enjoy those. I enjoy like the torture porn era, but it's definitely one that I would say is probably the lowest for me. And like I've kind of gotten a little bit more into found footage because of all the found footage movies you made me watch. But you know, I'm starting to enjoy more of them. But that used to be at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Daniel?
Vampires and then gothic horror, kind of as a two-hander.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you watch Daniel's channel, you see a lot of gothic horror and stuff like that. So, Josh, what about you, buddy?
I really like splatter and then just traditional like paranormal haunted houses, Amityville horror. You know, haunted houses, classic, but otherwise I watch a lot of splatter.
Good. So I'm just gonna kind of get into it because, as I said, I prepping for this video, I said like a top 5, but then there's just so many damn movies that I just would love to recommend to people, and I know you guys as well. And so, bearded film guy, Chris, buddy, I'm gonna start with you. With your
Smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
Look at this smooth
so
mofo.
smooth.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I thought I'll be honest with y'all. I thought we were doing a deep dive into Blood Rain. So I pulled this out just to
Hell yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so dude, this was hard. This was really hard to do because I was like, I kept looking at the collection over and over and over again, and then of course I wanted to talk about them in some sort of order as we went along. But so my first pick for my 5 at least. This was kind of like my 5th round of looking through the shelves, and I don't know how many people here have seen this one, but it's House on Straw Hill, or if anybody's even heard of this one. It's also known as Trauma and Expose, I think.
Been a long time.
Yeah, I figured somebody
Deep
on here
cut.
had to know. Yeah.
Trauma I remember watching.
Yeah, this is a wicked one. So it stars Udo Kier, who I'm trying to think of what most people would know him from. I don't know, Dan. Maybe you know what would be his most widely recognized, like Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Is he in that?
Yeah, he plays the at the mental. He's in it for a brief second, like a brief second.
I mean, if people are familiar with like his stuff, like Blood for Dracula and Flesh for Frankenstein, he stars in both those. He's also in Blade. He's like one of the head vampires in that.
Oh, he is in Blade. Yeah. I forgot about that. But yeah, I think Flesh for Frankenstein's probably that or Blood for Dracula is like his biggest. But so this is an interesting one because this ended up on the Video Nasty list, and to be honest, there's really not much here deserving of it ended up on that list. It's a story of Udo Kier plays an author who needs a typist to come. His agency hires a typist to come out and just type so he can oddly walk around the room and spit out all these words and make her type it all and try to make it make sense. But what happens is, and it's funny because the actress that's in here, Fiona Richmond, she is a like really well-known softcore actress in the UK. And she plays the woman who gets hired to come and play this typist. And pretty much it turns into a revenge, I guess you could say revenge exploitation film, as she kind of slowly makes her way into his life. There's this really weird scene where she gets attacked by 2 men in a field and blows them away with a shotgun. It's really odd because the movie's beautiful. Like if anybody here has ever seen it, it's a gorgeous movie to look at. It's shot so incredibly well. And kind of the entire time, which this movie's short, it's 84 minutes. So it's like a minute longer than Halloween H2O, which is the shortest movie ever made. It's It's really interesting because the video nasties, when you think video nasty, you think Cannibal Holocaust, anything in the extreme
Super
realm.
gore.
Yeah,
Super
yeah. Yeah, you think super gory. And it's kind of the opposite of that. Like there's some pretty gnarly moments in it, but I would bet any major R-rated horror release nowadays takes it further in almost every aspect. A lot of it's the context of it because you have the seduction element. Udo Kier has these nightmares when he makes love to one of the women that he brings over to his place. And that it's honestly like, I think strictly from the perspective of entering into the exploitation genre and kind of seeing the beauty of it, because a lot of these movies are shot really well. Like there are true artists behind the camera trying to tell good stories, and at the same time they're exploiting the hell out of everybody in it. But to me, it's a good balance. It's a good entry point for me.
John, what about you?
All right. Well, the first one I wanted to talk about, like, it might not be the most obscure, but I think it kind of got forgotten about, and it was definitely strange, especially when I first saw it. And that was Nightbreed. This is directed by Clive Burton, but this is one that, you know, people always talk about Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2. Clive Burton did that, but they forget about Nightbreed. And what I always find fascinating about Nightbreed is one of the main characters is played by David Cronenberg, and I just
So good.
just never think of him as an actor, even though he's in Jason X also. And he's actually scary in it as a serial killer, and he doesn't.
That
you know,
knife.
oh my god, it's brutal. And in 4K, some of the visuals in that movie, like when he's in the field with the mask and the detail in that mask is haunting. And you get some first person views in this movie as well. I mean, it can be really brutal. Then the other side of that is, you know, it gets a little bit cheesy with some of the other effects in this movie. The one guy looks like what was that, Night Mac from back in the day?
Oh yeah, the moon. Yeah.
So like on the other side of this movie being so scary, it's also it's got these like silly practical effects in it. But I always love that combination, and I think it works really good for this movie. I just think it kind of just, you know, got lost in the shuffle because you know, I guess it could be just a little bit, the tone of it can be a little off.
Hey, you know, I saw that.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, man. I was gonna say I saw that movie once, and like it didn't super hit for me. And one of my issues with it was the monsters are so ugly.
Yeah,
they're like off-putting, and I did not want to look at them. And I'm just like, I don't even want to look at this movie anymore. These monsters are too much.
That's wicked, man.
That's the thing. It's like the mask and everything is so scary, and then you see the monsters, and it's like, what the hell? Like, is this the same movie?
crazy designs. Yeah.
Have you ever seeked out the Cabal cut of it, John?
No, I haven't, honestly. No.
Yeah, there's like a 3.5 hour cut of that.
It's all put together. It's awesome.
I would love to see that. I gotta find that.
Yeah, I think there's something. I know it's available through mods. Like one of the mods that I follow, I know he put it out, and I think there was an attempt to put it out, an official release, but whatever went wrong with it, and I haven't assigned the time yet to sit down and put myself through it because I've heard some very mixed things.
Yeah,
was it not put out in that like box set limited edition that Scream Factory put out years ago? Because they put out like this limited run of, I thought it was the Cabal cut, or maybe
I think that's the theatrical and the director's cut.
The
4K, which they have that on on the 4K. So
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that it was that long. That's pretty. What the hell? I wonder what the hell they had.
That's probably going to be how long Terrifier 4 is going to be.
Eventually,
yeah. But when you watch Nightbreed, though, there is a sense of it being heavily chopped up. Like there's a lot of just like sometimes you're like, okay, hold on, how did we get here?
Yeah,
like a lot. Yeah, you could tell that it's very chopped up.
Daniel.
First of all, like I've been watching the chat. There are so many great suggestions in the chat. A lot of cool stuff people are throwing out. I thought I would start off with a classic. So we're going to go back to 1933. This is Mad Love. It's a pre-code film. So if anybody watching doesn't know, it basically means before like the Hays Code, the censorship was really enforced. So if you watch a horror movie from the early 30s, they're not too censored and you can kind of tell. And Mad Love is basically, it stars Peter Lorre, and he is this brilliant surgeon but psychopath who is in love with this actress who is married, but he wants to get rid of her husband. So her husband has this accident, and he's this famous pianist. And her husband, by the way, is played by Colin Clive, who is Dr. Frankenstein in the original Frankenstein movies. He has this accident where his hands are damaged, and Peter Lorre is the only one who can save his hands by giving him new hands, but maybe he gives him the hands of a serial killer. So it's like, what happens if a serial killer's hands are now your hands? And it's fun. It's really, really good. If you don't know who Peter Lorre is, like if you ever heard like the Looney Tunes archetype of like the creepy guy who talks like this, that's Peter Lorre, like straight up Peter Lorre. And he's super, super fun in this. And it is like a little dirtier and a little more messed up than you would expect a black and white horror film to be, because it's pre-code. So I think it's a lot of fun. And Warner Archive put this out.
Yeah, which
Sweet.
are those archive releases? They're on demand, right? They're manufactured on demand.
No, their DVDs were. I don't think their Blu-rays at least didn't
okay.
used to be. If they've switched, I'm not aware of. But Warner Archive really filled a need for me. I'm putting out like a lot of 1930s horror movies I've been waiting for. So shout out to them. They don't put a lot of packaging, but they put out some cool movies.
Hey, at least
I
it's
gotta
out
seek that
there.
out. I'm buying it right now.
Yeah, do it, man. You're gonna spend like $300 by the end of this.
Yeah, no kidding. Josh, what about you?
I was gonna start easy this evening. So this is also called House of Crazies. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. This was my favorite anthology of all time from 1972, Asylum.
Oh, heck yeah.
I love this movie. It was so effective when I think I watched this in 5th grade. And the scene with the doll, the scene where they're in the basement where they're chopping up the body, just wigged me out, dude. It's never really had a great release. This is the Severin one. It's still pretty grainy, but I like a lot of grain, so I just had it on VHS forever. But yeah, Asylum 2. I mean,
Yeah.
super good, super underrated. Great little wraparound story, kind of puppet mastery. Big fan. If you haven't seen Asylum, it's always streaming somewhere, but that Severin cut, sick.
I agree,
House of
dude.
Crazy.
I got all excited to hear you mention it. And it's also one of the anthologies that turns the wraparound into the final segment. And I always dig it when anthologies do that. It's rare, but it's cool when it happens.
Yeah, it fits. It works so good.
Yeah,
PG, pretty creepy.
Nice.
definitely.
One of mine, I'm going to start off actually with a recent one. And so, and I'm doing this just because it's not really advertised. And that's something that we touched upon with the slip cover or with the cover, but I'm talking about Offspring instead of the woman in this movie. So this recently came out from Arrow Video. The Offspring, Jordan, who was just on here from the Movie Den, he mentioned this film, and I didn't even know about there. I forgot, at least I should say, that there was an additional movie to this, which is the first movie of this trilogy, because there's actually a trilogy. And Offspring is so damn good, man. It's a cannibal, like, yeah, exactly. It's brutal. It's my type of movie. I think, to me, it's better than the sequel, The Woman, just because I really like how in Offspring you really get to know this cannibalistic tribe and what they do to survive and the reasons why they are getting some people. And what Josh said, the movie itself is brutal, and I was just shocked. And
Well, that's Jack Ketchum, right? Who wrote that, and The Woman. Jack Ketchum, Girl Next Door.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I have to say that the special features to this is amazing, and there is a fantastic 45-minute panel with these tons of wonderful directors of Ty West, Adam Green from The Hatchet, and they're just other well-known directors. It is well worth it just for that damn panel. But seriously, The Offspring, such a great movie. But again, I'm going to start off with that one because again, not many people know. They know about the woman, but not Offspring. So
Yeah,
It's true.
I always had a lot of history with Offspring because when it came out on DVD, it was part of I think it was like a Ghost House line. I remember the cover, and it had the necklace on. It was a bone necklace and said Ghost House along the side. And I remember when I was younger, trying to collect that entire collection. That was kind of like when I was getting into watching some cannibal stuff, and that one messed me up.
It was kind of like
Pretty
Dimension
good.
Extreme, similar
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, that, and it was kind of like the oh my god, what was the one? So there was like Masters of Horror, and then there was the 8 Films to Die For. It was kind of like that era of DVDs.
Daniel, have you seen that Offspring?
No, I saw The Woman years ago, and I thought it was great. I also thought it was one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. Never
Awesome.
heard about Offspring until that Arrow release came out. And even when it came out, I saw like The Woman and what? It only shows the woman on the cover, and I was confused. I was like, is that a bonus feature or a short film? But I got to hear like about it in more detail for the first time because of your review, actually. So I'm definitely interested to check it out because The Woman is great. I really like Lucky McKee. I know the Offspring. I don't think it is Lucky McKee, but I'm interested.
Yeah, that was a weird set. When I bought that, I did a video the same day that I bought it, and actually, as I was filming the video, I was like, "Wait, this has Offspring in 4K." I was like, "Why did they not tell anybody this?"
And it looks good. Both
Yeah.
films look really good in 4K. But anyway, guys, yeah, again, I just have to mention that. So Offspring. So Josh, or sorry, not Josh, sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
You're next.
So this next one is I feel like Synapse put out a Blu-ray of this, and then Umbrella announced a Blu-ray of this, and so I feel like more people are discovering this. But my next one is Intruder, and this is probably like one of the finest examples of how fucking practical effects really like drove the show. If you haven't seen this, this is about, and the plot is this simple. There's a bunch of people working in a grocery store. The owners of the grocery store announced that they're done. They're going to close the store. They're selling it. And then a killer shows up and just begins butchering all of the employees in the store. And you have both Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi in here. Elizabeth Cox and Bruce Campbell shows up. So this is sort of that. Yeah, that click in that time. And I got to tell you, this has one of, I would probably say, my top 3 most wicked kills of all time, involving a meat saw through a head. Yeah.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's full blown. It doesn't cut away from anything. It shows all of the carnage. But here's the thing, though. Intruder doesn't take itself too seriously. So the gore is not. It sounds disturbing, but it doesn't play off as disturbing in it. It plays off as fun. Like, this movie knows what it is. It's 80s. It's cheesy. It's very silly. But the gore takes itself very seriously, and there's a nice kind of blend there where you're not turning away from the screen. You're more just like, oh, what the hell?
Nice.
The movie's full of that, absolutely full of that. So if you haven't seen Intruder, it's a really cool pickup. I did not pick up that Umbrella set that they announced. I don't even know if that officially came out yet. But that's a good one.
I think, is it next month maybe? But I did see the box set for that.
Yeah, it looks like a wicked cool set. I might have to upgrade because, man, once you put a box and some extras in there, I'm like throwing my debit card at it.
Take my money, Umbrella.
It's the same Blu-ray. Like, I don't know why I would do that, but you know.
Yeah, it's because it's us. That's why.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
I did the same damn thing with Late Night with the Devil, man. I already got that. I just got the 4K from Cape Light, and I have the Steelbook. So because I love that damn movie so damn much. So
well, I just got Jordan from the movie den. Yeah, but see, Umbrella, I just got Jordan from the movie den to pick up Caligula because I grabbed it. And he was like, I don't know if I should. And I kind of talked to him, and then he messaged me about an hour later, and he's like, yeah, I bought it. I'm like, here we go.
Did you get the big one?
Yeah, the absolute power set. Of course I
Yeah.
know, man. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, man. I'm just out here poisoning minds. That's my
Yeah.
goal in life. Just trying
And that's
to,
what this
know.
the more you know. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
John, what about you?
So the next one I was going to talk about came out a few years ago, actually. 2021's Titan, I think it's pronounced. It's by a French director who also directed the movie Raw. And this movie, man, the first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell am I watching? Oh, you got that?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Of course you did.
Raw's so good.
Raw is great. So because of Raw, I went and watched Titan. And, it's about a girl early in the movie, gets a car accident, gets a plate put in her head. And, all of a sudden she starts to embrace the car. And then later in the movie, she starts modeling on a car because she's got a job as a model and everything. And then she starts to have sex with the car later on. So things get a little weird after that, if you think it wasn't weird enough. It also turns out she's a serial killer. So she's got to go blend in. Like she works at a fire department, if I remember right. Like kind of just blending in there. So it's kind of about, even though all this weird shit's going on. Sorry about I'm cursing.
I already cursed a bunch of times. Don't worry about it.
But even though all this weird stuff's going on, it's kind of really about the struggle of a person's sexuality, kind of told through this story about a woman who was really attracted to cars. Now, there's another movie out there that David Cronenberg directed that deals with the fetishism of car accidents called Crash.
Oh,
right here.
yeah.
This is a really good movie. It freaked me out the first time I saw it because the one actor in there is Casey Jones in TMNT, the original one. I'm like, this freaking guy, man. Now he's in the Bang & Lauren, what's her name? Holly Hunter? No, Holly Hunter. Helen Hunt, whatever one of them. Getting in car accidents. Just what the hell, man? But both movies are great if you haven't seen them.
Dude, Titan is that movie where you read the plot and you go, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that. And it's exactly
and it's shot beautifully. Like it looks sharp and like glossy. Like
yeah, that's a wild movie, man.
It really is.
Literally after seeing it, I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Seriously. Like that's literally what I said is like, what the hell, what the F did I just watch? I can't believe it. But it's something that like sticks with you because it's so bizarre. It's well shot. It's well directed. The acting's very good, but it's a storyline and some crazy events that happen. You're just like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. One big analogy, but it's you're watching this movie and it's like, just what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, the scene in Twisters when his when Bill Paxton's fiance says, "I thought when you said you chased twisters, it was a metaphor." That was me looking at a Titan when it was over because I was like, that's not what I thought. This was.
That's actually really good, man. Oh, Chris, that was pretty damn funny. Daniel, what about you, buddy?
By the way, Eli in the chat just said he recommends Crucible of Terror. So I'm curious, are you talking about the one in this new Vinegar Syndrome set, Cruel Britannia? Because if you are, I'm excited to watch it because I need a reason to pop this thing back in. But okay, so my next recommendation, I swear I only picked one of these movies. And then in our little group chat, Frank started opening the floodgates of, you don't have to stick to 5. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to bring the whole trilogy. So that is Hammer's Karnstein trilogy of vampire movies that they made in the early 70s. This is basically like probably Hammer at their sleaziest. If you watch like the 50s and early 60s Hammer films, they're these very classic Gothic films and such. As they get in the 70s, they're getting sleazier and sleazier, and it's pretty fun. So they start off with The Vampire Lovers, which is an adaptation of Carmilla, which is a vampire novella that actually predates Dracula about a lesbian vampire. And this really delivers on lesbian vampire content, let me tell you. And then it goes Lust for a Vampire, which is probably the sleaziest of the bunch, but it's kind of like a schlockier Carmilla, but it's fun. It's a pretty good time. And then my favorite of the bunch is Twins of Evil, which I have previously called like a kitchen sink movie because they're just throwing everything at this movie. Like it's a vampire film, it's a witch film, a witch hunting film, a devil worshiping cult film. Like it's got so much good stuff in here that's so much fun. And the whole advertising hook of the movie is it stars the Collinson twins, who are these Playboy models, and like all the marketing is basically like, come see this movie and you might see them naked. So I told Chris that we were going to talk some Euro trash on the here, and we're starting that off. But these are actually really good vampire movies. Like, they're ridiculously beautiful, because Hammer films usually are, like the period recreation and just the vampire content they deliver on it. You know, you got lots of teeth and biting and lots of fun stuff. So highly recommend the Karnstein trilogy.
This is the type of live stream you're just gonna let your hair down, guys. Just
That's
talk about it,
right.
guys.
Well, so Vampire Lovers, that's the only one I've seen of the three, but they always make me think of anything that Gene Rollins did in the 70s. Like, if you want to go like Rape of the Vampire,
but
Nude Vampire.
This has like a plot.
Yeah. Those are no. If you ever sit down and watch a Gene Rollins movie, he actually says in all his interviews, there's no plot. He just comes up with images of. He literally said for his first movie, which was supposed to be a short film, he was like, I have this image of a dead naked vampire on a beach, and they went and they shot that, and then they were like, all right, where does this go from here? And that's it. That's the whole. That there was no script, nothing. It just went from there. So
not how they not very different how they sold movies back in the 30s. Either it's like, or the 40s, like, I got a poster, so we got to work around this.
That's how they sold Friday the 13th. And we got a title.
Let's figure it out from here.
Dude, I'll tell you, I've yet to successfully make it through a Gene Rollins movie. I've tried a couple of them. I always fail. So like based on his titles and posters, I really wanted to get into them, and then I start watching them. I'm just like, man, there is nothing happening in this movie, and I just burn out.
I did something a little different with those. When I bought the Indicator releases, I actually read the booklets first.
That's probably smart.
I was like, I'm going into this completely blind. I was like, let me read the booklet and try to get myself into like a headspace, and that was with Rape of the Vampire. And when I threw it on about halfway through, I was like, if I didn't read that booklet, this would already be off and back on the shelf, and I would be watching something else. And I've never done that before. So that was just an interesting approach that worked, oddly. Because I had a feeling I wasn't spoiling anything for myself, because I didn't think there was any real depth to the storytelling I was going to ruin, but it worked. So
that's a legit helpful tip. I appreciate that.
Life hack.
Yeah, that's a life hack. Exactly.
Ruin all the movies you're going to watch first and then watch them. It makes them better. I'm telling
Chris, you should do a video on like life hacks, how to get into schlocky trash or whatever.
Oh my God.
Lower your expectation.
That'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah. Where to begin?
Oh my goodness, man. That'd be so badass. Josh, what about you?
Well, somebody said it in the comments, and I was like, well, shit. So I brought this movie. I mean, this one I didn't know about until a couple of years ago. A coworker was like, dude, have you seen this movie from 2008? It's pretty grapey. It's a zombie movie. I don't know if you're going to like it. And I loved it. Dead Girl. This is the unearthed film release of it. It looks beautiful. It's hard to watch. It's gross. It's vile. It looks really good. It's kind of like the anti-American Pie, I guess.
Yeah.
Brutal. But you can buy it on Vudu for like $3. So that's how I first watched it. And then I went back in time and found it on, I think I got it from Grindhouse or something.
I've always been scared to watch that one.
So what is it about?
It's about these teenagers that are kind of like outcasts, and they decide to kind of go down to this abandoned warehouse, and there's this girl tied up, and she looks a little bit dead, and she's kind of like comatose, but kind of like barely moving, and things go sour. And then other people find out about it. They start drinking beers, and it kind of escalates, and it becomes a rumor in school, and then everybody ends up down there, and she gets her vengeance, and it's pretty intense. It's a great release, but hard to watch. It's pretty.
Yeah, it sounds really disturbing. I heard about it a while ago, and man, I've never got the courage up to watch that. It sounds really disturbing.
It's bad.
I feel like it could have gone so much further than it did, because it's another one of those. It's another one of those where you read the plot and you're like, no, it doesn't, and it does do that, but it is more restrained than I thought it was going to be. If it had
And
come
because
out
it's made
30
so
years
well.
earlier, yeah, there's production value to it. It looks really, really, really good.
I've heard nothing but great things for sure.
Yeah,
It's just a hard set. It's
Sure.
but it could be a lot worse for sure. I've got a bunch of those on my list.
I love it.
This is the could be worse category.
We're in the trust tree, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're in there.
With our friends.
We're all friends, right? Like,
exactly.
Daniel's recording right now. He's like, I got all this evidence.
This dude's on a walk.
Take the attention
No,
off his
no.
blood slides.
No, one thing that became very clear to me from reading the comments on my Terrifier 3 review is I am not about judging people for movies they like. It's just movies. It's not real. It's okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's it.
Well put. Yeah, something really quick, man. What the hell? Okay, so off subject, but kind of not. Just touch base with what the hell Daniel just said. So we watch like fucked up horror movies sometimes, right? And we enjoy it. My wife, she doesn't like that type of movies. But however, this girl, she will like while eating dinner, whatever, just watch like some terrible like Dateline or just like real stories on YouTube of like mass murderers or just tragic,
Yeah.
cannibalistic, like
Can't
people
do
were
that.
trapped in a mountain. I'm like, what the hell? I can't really do that, but I'll watch like this type of crap, this type of movies and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. I just
Can't
thought that
believe
was
you're watching that.
fascinating. Yeah, I'm
I
like,
forgot all
my
the time.
stuff's fake, man, but your stuff is real. How in the hell?
I'm the same way. I hate true crime. It just freaks me out way too much.
there's a lot. Seeing something real like that does, like, seeing something more artificial. You could take yourself out of it a little bit more. But when it comes real, you put a real person to it. Yeah, it's a little different kind of level of fear.
Mhm.
Yeah, we just started watching. So my wife watched the Monsters Menendez. And
Oh,
I was
that's-
like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was a little hesitant because I kind of fall in that line where I'm like, it's real, so I don't know, it just doesn't react the same way. So she got me to watch it, and we watched episode 1, and they reenact the killing.
That's
of the
so
parents.
bad, man.
And for like 5 minutes after, I was a little stunned. I was like, this is nothing compared to what I'm going to watch after this. But because it's real
Mhm.
and because of the lengths they went to keep it realistic as far as like positioning and everything, all the detail, I was like, ooh, I don't know. That's
I
brutal.
got a movie for you, dude. I got a movie for you. I'm excited.
And our fucked up segment.
Yeah, I got some true ones down here.
Well,
Oh, man.
I'll go a little light. This one is The Deep House. It's a found footage
Oh, great
film.
movie.
It's about a couple content creators on YouTube, y'all. So it could just be Chris and Josh going down scuba diving, and they just go look for some what could be underneath in the water, and there's a nice little house right there. It's a great found footage paranormal like movie that has it's something that I actually didn't know about because I just try to watch as many found footage films as possible, especially in February for my February found footage peeps. What's up? Check this one out. It's this one also as well is from, I think it's Turbine Media, so German release. It has a Dolby Atmos as well, and it's very immersive, man. It actually surprised the hell out of me how immersive the audio is, but there were some tense moments, and of course it's got a good crazy ending to it as well. But I just thought it was pretty damn funny how it's just YouTube content creators and this is what they do, and it's just, I don't know, I thought it was just a very entertaining kind of silly found footage film.
That's
And Chris
Turbine,
on
they
a Saturday.
they do media books, right? Like that's
yes sir, it's a media book, so yep.
Like the first thing I thought when you picked it up is like I looked at it and I was like, I want to touch that.
Ugh.
I don't know why. There's just a textured thing. It looks like. I was like, I
Oh
just wanna
yeah,
touch
dude,
that.
hard. It's it feels so good. Cape Light Pictures as well. The Late Night with the Devil, same thing. That's a media book. I really wish that. Yeah. Yeah, boy, Eden Lake. There we go. That's a fucked up. And so yeah, which I truly love. I'll pass it on. Chris.
So I figured I would stick in the realm of lighter bits for the middle of this. I'm going to talk about Thriller, a cruel fiction.
Like how that's your lighter one.
That's the light one.
I'm just kidding.
Like Bret Hart right there.
You know.
I feel like most of my picks are light.
So who I know, Frank, have you watched this? I know you have this.
Yeah, of course I watched it, man. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
Quentin
Make sure.
Tarantino was inspired by a little bit with the Kill Bill and
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen Thriller, this is Christina Lindbergh, and she basically it's been a little bit. She gets she gets taken, and she's forced to be pretty much a prostitute. She's locked up in this room and forced to get paid for some work. And then she about a quarter of the way through or about halfway through this movie decides to start sneaking out, learns how to shoot guns, learns how to drive cars, and then takes revenge on everybody who was involved, particularly after her eye gets ripped out by her kidnapper. But what's most interesting here, so Thriller is the X-rated cut. They call her One Eye. And this is that weird time where directors would actually hire adult movie stars to come in and shoot insert scenes to put in. So if you watch the X-rated cut of this, there's actually pornographic scenes.
Yeah.
Just like transitioned into it's pretty interesting. But I have to say, the action in this movie is once she decides to get revenge.
It's pretty good, man.
It's all in slow motion.
Yeah.
Everything is in slow motion. It's like watching a Zack Snyder exploitation movie. There's a 60-second shot of a shotgun blast of just her in slow motion shooting a shotgun. There is a full-blown fist fight in this movie that's in slow motion. No joke. It goes on for you know how like 10 minutes into the fight and they live. You're like, okay, yeah, that's like 10 minutes into this slow motion fist fight in Thriller. And I'm not saying that you have to go and watch that adult cut of this movie because
But you should.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, it goes there. It goes to some crazy places. But I actually think, and I don't know about you guys, I think it makes the revenge to me a little bit more satisfying when they don't lighten up on the stuff that leads to the revenge. It's kind of like Last House on the Left, where like it's brutal, but it makes the ending so satisfying. Or I Spit on Your Grave, when she finally turns around and starts playing them. It's so satisfying to me. And I think this is kind of like the epitome of 70s exploitation mixed in with like a little bit of Death Wish and a little bit of Zack Snyder. And this release from Vinegar Syndrome is one of my favorites of the past like 5 years easily. This is a beautiful set. You can still get the movie just on its own, but this comes with both cuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got the unrated one. So that's actually good comparison. Or what you just said with Death Wish with Charles Bronson, because there is a little bit of that kind of vibe with that for sure. So
yeah, and Death Wish is very exploitation. I mean, especially when you get into the sequels, which aren't as good as the original, but Death Wish is very exploitation. I mean, it has all of the key pieces that you expect. It's just a little lighter in some, goes a little heavier in others.
Mm-hmm. John.
All right. The next one I have up is this is my light one as well. Is Psycho Goreman, or PG. Now this movie is fantastic. It's kind of also an alien horror movie. So the whole premise of this movie is a bunch of these kids discover, mainly it's a little girl. She discovers like a rock that she controls now this alien that just came back to Earth. But this alien, all it wants to do is kill. That's all it wants to do. That's its goal in life. It's just he wants to destroy everything. But he has to listen to the girl. So she's just making him do whatever he wants. At one point, he's dressed up like Sam Neill in Jurassic Park. but the effects in this movie are over the top, ridiculous. It looks like the Power Rangers from the 1990s. Like all those kinds of cheesy effects that I just love, like a throwback to the night. Because the movie itself, even though it's a horror movie, it's still a lot of fun, but it's awesome, gory as hell, and just over the top, ridiculous. Everything I like in a good movie.
I actually haven't seen that one, and I know about it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So.
I love he turns one kid into a giant brain.
Oh yeah, and he hates.
Okay,
one of my favorite lines in the movie actually is when he says to that kid, he's like, "Oh, have a good day, PG." He's like, "It'd be a better day if you were dead."
I was about to bring up the giant brain thing because I think that's the biggest thing that tripped me up about that movie is like they turned that poor child into that monstrosity.
They don't change it back,
and they don't really resolve it. By the end, I'm like, we're not going to do anything with this kid. This is horrible.
But the costume is so bad, like intentionally. I love that. Like when he turns the cop into like the video drone monster, it's ridiculous.
What I will say to you, Frank, to tell you like whether you would like this, if you think that the 90s Power Rangers show would be great if it was rated R, you should watch Psycho Goreman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and he has a new movie too that Shout's putting out. It's called like Franco Freako or something, or
that's
Franco
him?
Freak. That's him. Yeah, same director.
I'm gonna have to look at that because I love this movie so much.
Is it a biopic about Franco Nero?
Yeah, it is with puppets.
Yes, I would watch that. That sounds amazing.
Daniel, what about you?
Quick bonus, just because I saw people talking about it in the chat and I brought over the possibility. Beyond the Gates. It's an absolutely wonderful modern indie horror film. So I'll just put it as a bonus because people are talking about it in the chat. So I think if you're talking about obscure horror films, somebody has got to bring something from the lesser discussed boutique label Mondo Macabro. So I got Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf, which is a Paul Naschy movie. I absolutely love Paul Naschy. It's a love that I've discovered in only the past like few years. But he was a Spanish actor, writer, director back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, mostly 70s, who made a lot of like gothic tributes to like Universal Monsters and Hammer and stuff like that, but just way trashier and more ridiculous, but in a really, really fun way. His movies are super entertaining. So I also brought over my Scream Factory made 2 box sets dedicated to him, and I highly recommend them both. And I believe they're still in print. But I brought over Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf. It is a very fun movie. And if you wonder, like, how do you put Dr. Jekyll and a werewolf in a movie together? Well, basically, you've got your main character played by Paul Naschy, who's a werewolf, because this is part of like a 9-movie series about werewolf character Waldemar Daninsky. He plays this character over and over again, but he's a werewolf. He wants to be cured. He goes to Dr. Jekyll to get a cure, and Dr. Jekyll injects him with the Mr. Hyde serum so Mr. Hyde can fight the werewolf curse from inside, and then he can cure the Mr. Hyde thing. And it's so ridiculous, but it's very, very fun, and I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I remember you putting in that movie in your videos a couple times, or one of them recently with your werewolf.
That was a different one actually, but I did do I did do a review of this when I got it, so there's a video on it.
Okay. Yeah, I could have sworn I've seen that. Josh.
Yeah. Everybody else went light, so I'm gonna go heavy. This movie's made its rounds at my work, and that's not good. it's a grueling test. This is the story. I think it's Armin Muse. Was it 2001? The cannibals that signed up on the internet. I want to be eaten, and I want to do the eating. This is a Marian Dora film from Unearthed from 2006. Cannibal. It says, this film contains graphic violence. That's a goddamn lie. That is a lie. It's no proof. Everybody at work's like, dude, you were messed up. Why would you have me watch that movie? It's like, no, we were talking about it, and you said you could handle.
You said you could handle it.
Well, there's a lot of male on male stuff in there. There's like, this director always is anonymous, so there's no photos of him online because he uses real animals in his films, which is, it can be kind of.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So the carcass is a pig, you know, but I mean, there's 20 minutes where he's just shaving off and having a nice meal, and it's done so well. It's like a German kind of expression film where it's just one steady shot, you know, there's barely any dialogue, and the music is great. They're always like closing up on like mouth movements. It's so uncomfortable to watch. And then yeah, this dude gets eaten, and it's about 88 minutes of that. Crazy movie. It's about $192 on Amazon right now. Pretty not recommending it, but if you've seen it, you know.
I feel like your coworkers were like, "Hey man, we love The Green Inferno. Can you give us any other recommendation? Because we handled that one pretty well, you know."
Do you have an HR department at your job?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about that.
Oh, dude.
Like, did it make it to the top? Like, listen, we got to talk.
He is
So
HR.
There's like, I am.
That's how he's handing it out. He's like, listen,
I'm the boss,
I'm
that helps.
working here to check this out. Let me know what you think.
There's like company mailboxes, and so like I'll go around work and I've got staff, and like it's floating between people's boxes. It's a trip. And I'm like, they watched it. Sorry. Like, it's pretty bad. I love it. I think it's really well made. Yeah, you can explore. There's worse movies, but the last 20 minutes, it's just a corpse being eaten and then just like shaving off, you know, beautifully done. Lots of reds, lots of close-ups. Just
The palette, the color palette.
Yeah.
it's
Hannibal,
immaculate.
2006.
Exactly.
Got it out
Well,
of
well, I'm gonna go one with that I actually just watched, and I found this movie fascinating. It's a really good psychological thriller. It's nothing crazy like Josh. And that is Goodnight Mommy. It's an
good.
Austrian film. Came out in 2014. And holy shit, man, there's some great moments, and there's some dark scenes in this film that are just so twin boys, their mom comes back from a surgery, and they just notice that they assume, or they think that maybe she isn't who she claims to be, and they actually test her in the beginning of the film of knowledge that she should know. And it just there's some brutal scenes at the end, like what they do to torture her, to see if she is who she is. And it's kind of dark too. The ending is pretty dark, which I actually kind of wasn't expecting in some ways. So that is one that I recommend. It came from Umbrella Entertainment. But I really love psychological thrillers or psychological horror, and I thought this was very good. And the acting is pretty damn good as well. Susan something, I can't remember, but she was phenomenal and creepy as hell, and just the imagery of like the bandage on her face and how how she acts, it was just phenomenal. So that's just one that I recommend.
Who put
Am
that
I
out, Frank?
remembering right that that's a remake of a Japanese film?
I think that's the original,
no,
2014.
This is the original. There was a remake with Naomi Watts, which was a few years
Japanese
later.
film that was the original. Wasn't it a remake of A Tale of Two Sisters?
Which I was going to talk about, but
Oh, maybe
Might
not.
as well talk about it now.
I could have swore, because I saw Goodnight Mommy that came out.
Damn.
I could have swore people were talking about how it was a remake.
no.
Oh, okay.
No, to my knowledge, that one, the 2014, isn't a remake to any other movie, but there is a remake it's an American movie or American remake with Naomi Watts.
I went and seen that. The director came here and showed it live, like had a screening and signed a poster. That 2014 one, super good, dude. Underrated.
I was trying to find a picture. I can't find it, but one year my brother-in-law dressed up for Halloween, and I wasn't with him, but somebody sent a picture of him in a group chat, and he had the bandage wrapped all around his face, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's the mummy, and I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, are you supposed to be the mother in Goodnight Mommy? He's like, you were the only person to get that.
Yeah, the child acting was really good too by the twins. Yeah, really good children acting. So, Chris, you're next.
So this one, we can kind of go back and forth on whether or not this is. I consider this horror because this movie's a bit of an experience. But Lords of Chaos. Has anybody seen this?
Dude, yes.
I've heard of it. I
Yeah.
haven't seen
Shit,
it.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You read
So
the
this
book?
is. I have not read the book, but
Oh man,
man, this is so. It stars Rory Culkin, and this is about the. It's sort of the pseudo true story of the rise of Norwegian black metal. And this tells the story of this kind of tragic tale of this band, and I don't really know how exactly to describe this plot. It kind of tells the story of the members, because one of their members commits a very, very, very brutal suicide, and that leads kind of down this trail, and they're trying to find new members, but they're putting on this persona, like they're this true, authentic, like evil band. Everybody in the band truly believes what they represent, and they get a new member who really, really, really believes and truly takes things to the next level. And he begins burning churches, and people are committing murders for the band. And the death scenes in this movie are some of the, I think, in my opinion, most brutal put on screen, because they're slow, they're deliberate, and they're violent as hell. And the fact that any of this could be true is the most terrifying to me. Because there's some crazy images in this. So this was a real thing that happened. Like in Norway, somebody burned down all these churches. That's all they did, were target these churches and burn them down. And they recreate them fully in this movie. So the imagery is crazy. And we're following Rory Culkin, who is just a metalhead just wanting to start a band and put on this persona. And all of a sudden, the facade that he's putting out, the image that he's putting out, kind of catches up, because somebody shows up and they're not playing games. And it kind of leads to a very dark and brutal ending. It's a wicked. I feel like I did not do a good job at selling the plot.
you did pretty good. You did pretty good.
It's one of those movies that you just kind of gotta experience, and it's rare to me that a kill scene in a movie kind of like leaves me a little shaken. And I thought about Lords of Chaos for easily a week when it was over. Like, I didn't watch anything for a week after it was over, and it was the only thing I could talk about. Like, no shit, the suicide scene in that movie is
Dude.
absolutely unbelievable. Like, really, really, really wicked stuff. Yeah, really crazy stuff. So go into it with a little bit of, forewarning on that one. But it's an experience that definitely like sticks with you. And I think that that's one of the big things about horror, is it leaves a piece with you. And I definitely always carry that one around a little bit.
100% a horror movie.
Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be some black metal trolls out there though, but you did a great job.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate
That
it.
movie's so effective, man. And yeah, someone said, wasn't that an album cover? Yeah, that was the Mayhem, the Dead album cover. I'm a huge Mayhem fan, so it's like, that movie's intense.
It's a genre. Like, I grew up in the New Jersey, like, hardcore scene and metal scene, and I never got into black metal per se. I had friends who were, and to me, as an outsider looking in, I was always like, the kids in my community, I was always like, you guys are just like over exaggerated goth kids, the black makeup and all that. And watching Lords of Chaos as like a 30-year-old, I was like, oh, I can kind of see what they were standing for now, because the true events are wicked. Yeah, truly wicked.
John, what?
All right, I'm a little different from that. I'm gonna talk about some werewolves right now. So I'm gonna talk about the Wolf of Snow Hollow, directed, starring, written by Jim Cummings. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, but he did a couple other movies like Rolling Thunder, and he actually starred in a movie that I think it's The Last Stop at Yuma County that came out this year. But this movie is just about a werewolf. They think there's a wolf in this town. They're trying to solve the crime, but when you watch this movie, it's also Robert Forster's last film. So before he died, this is the last movie he did, and he's great in it as well. But Jim Cummings, the star of this movie, he's also dealing with an alcohol problem, And all this while trying to find out what is killing these people in this town. And it's beautifully shot. It's an independent film. I think it only was released on VOD during the pandemic, but it's also really funny. So if you're in the werewolf movies, like, don't let that one pass you by, because The Wolf of Snow Hollow is great. And then watch Rolling Thunder too. It's not a horror movie, but it's just a fun movie.
Daniel.
Yeah, Wolf of Snow Hollow. I saw that. I gotta say, ending kind of disappointed.
You
me.
were let
Like,
down by the reveal.
yeah, because I was like, ooh, this cool werewolf movie, and
I understand. I can understand that. I understand. I thought it was a little bit of a letdown too, but overall, I loved the journey there. And I mean, the line of him just yelling at the other guy, like, "You're a bad police officer," it got me hysterically laughing.
Jim Cummings. Oh, Frank, Jim Cummings is in your favorite movie, Halloween Kills. He's like the cop in the flashback.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet. Hell yeah. Hey, man, don't
Good
shit
work,
on
man.
Halloween Kills.
I love Halloween Kills.
I just said it's your favorite movie. That's all.
It's not my favorite, but it's definitely I
Evil
fuck you
Dies
guys already
Tonight.
know. Evil Dies. I got that.
No, I
damn
saw
shirt.
Frank's rating. Okay, Halloween Ends was way above Kills. All right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, sums up with
100%.
Chris's feed. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, I'm having a kind of a hard time deciding, but I'm gonna pick this movie because just to throw it in mid-level media's face in case he's watching that I have the slipcovered edition because it's his holy grail, and that is the Vestron edition of The Unholy
Oh,
from
man.
1988. I just picked this movie up because I'm collect the Vestrons, and I really put it on with like no expectations. I was shocked how good it is. It stars Ben Cross as a priest who gets a new assignment at this church, and it turns out this church, all the priests die there because the higher ups at the Catholic Church put them there because there's this demon there that the priests always have to do battle with, and they always lose. So there's this demon presence in the church, and there's this satanic cult nightclub in town that Ben Cross is kind of dealing with too, and it's kind of like a mix of like a classy, smart religious horror, but also with like a cheesy, goopy 80s horror because it really delivers on some cool demon imagery and stuff by the end. So yeah, I just thought it was like way better than I expected, and I really liked it. So The Unholy, suck it, Ken. Just kidding.
Wait, I'm gonna get my phone out. I'm gonna take a picture. Suck it, kid. Josh, what about you? I can't wait. I can't wait.
Man, I was having a hard time
I'm prepared.
deciding. So I just got this, but I'm
Oh,
Necromantic 1, 2, Stramp. I mean, but
Yeah.
I'm not
how do
familiar
you
with all
say
of it
his
on
name? How do you say it?
Buttergeek? Jorg?
Yeah, I
Jorg?
knew it was something Butterfinger or something.
Butter-
Like that. It's like Jorg.
That's
Butter.
Arrow Video, right?
Yeah, Butter
Yeah.
Garrett.
Yeah, mine
something
just
like
shipped.
that.
I can't. I'll be in Florida when mine's delivered, but I can't.
Oh,
wait.
it's crazy. The book's like super dope. But we're gonna go to Turkey this time. We're gonna go with this came out. I want to say, I feel like it was on Netflix, but I don't think a lot of people watched it. This is the Ravens Banner.
I've heard it. Okay, yeah.
Baskin.
Mhm.
I love this movie. It's kind of like if Hellraiser was, a little more extreme. Turkish cops find like the little, I don't know, I guess a pathway to hell, but I think the gore is incredible. I think the actual priest and everything that's going on. There's some sorry, my cat just ran in here. Yeah, no, Baskin. Man. Her name's Bones, but yeah, she's gonna bug me, but that's all good. This movie, excellent, super gory, super kind of like Hellraiser. I love it. The cop drama, the kind of procedural stuff's great, and then yeah, just wicked. Love it.
I have seen that one.
Any comments? I think
I didn't like it as much as Josh did. It like, I don't know, it like throws so much insanity at you that I think I kind of got numb to it. But it's a lot of crazy stuff in that movie. So if you want to watch a lot of crazy stuff, that movie will deliver.
Mm.
All right, I'm gonna buy that one right now too.
Add to the list.
Hell yeah. Well, one, I'm I already kind of briefly talked about it, which is one that I actually made John watch as well. But it's one of my favorite horror like anthologies, and it's just really fucked up. It's Three Extremes. It's the three stories. Like I said, it's directors from Japan, China, and South Korea. Starts off with a movie that they actually made to a full length movie. So the first short is called Dumplings, which is directed by Fruit Chan, and it is I overall I think it's one of the best short story films that I've seen, because it's just a woman who wants to defy kind of like aging and wants to really attract her husband again, because he's just a piece of shit husband. But she wants to, I don't know, just find that love that she had before. So she tries these dumplings, and these dumplings are, of course, are just filled with some nasty shit that just kind of defies her aging, and it is kind of brutal. At least there's some scenes that you kind of don't know, at least you kind of assume like what she's using to put inside the dumplings. And then there's a scene or some graphic scenes as well in the short story. And then it's fantastic, man. I simply love it. And then, like I said, they made a full-length movie, hour and a half movie as well. Second movie is Cut, which is directed by Park Chan-wook. Yeah, which is the director of Old Boy, and that movie is pretty damn good. That one is about a director who gets held hostage, and his wife is with him as well. At least he wakes up to her stuck on a piano with like wires all coming out connected to her, and you find out why this sicko is holding him hostage. And that is a bleak ass short story, man. Holy shit. That it is so damn good. And then another one is Box. Box is that one is a Japanese short story, and I forgot who the director is, so I apologize. But that one is about a sister who is dealing with grief because there's something that happens to her, or at least an incident that she does, and it's all there. It kind of plays out like almost like a typical Japanese paranormal movie, but then it kind of just goes deep with some like kind of messed up
what a reveal at the end, huh?
Yeah, dude, it's pretty damn crazy of what just happens, man. What I really like about it is kind of like what you do as a child to try to get the love of a parent, like what because you always want to have that as a child. Like you want your mom and dad to love you. You try to do things, and maybe some things that you don't really want to do, but it would make your parents happy. But this, of course, is just a fucked up, twisted ass movie. So, but I kind of like that little emotional storyline that kind of goes into it. But anyway, I had John watch that film because that was part of my director's choice for him. And John, what'd you think about it, man?
I loved it. I thought that Cut was the best of the three, though, the Park Chan-wook one. I really liked that one. I thought it was a good psychological thriller, building tension the whole time. And then that one had a good reveal at the end, too, of like, the one girl towards the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great. And then obviously having his wife there. And then, it kind of unfolds like, you don't expect this guy. Everyone's a nice guy. And when it's revealed about him and what he's actually doing, it's pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually really like that one. But Dumplings was good, and Box, I wasn't really into it until the very end. And I was like, okay, that would all make sense, and it works out better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I went deep diving into like international horror, man. I love Asian horror movies, man. Like I got into it because of Old Boy, and then I
Old
just
Boy's masterpiece,
dived
man.
dived into like Ichi the Killer and all this kind of weird ass movies. Which, if you guys haven't seen Ichi the Killer, you guys kind of know.
Oh,
I
The
mean,
Wailing too. Like,
it's a graphic movie, which is also done by Fruit Chan. He's the director for what did I say? Dumplings, I believe. But anyway, yeah, highly recommend Three Extremes, man. It's great. So
That's
I'll
a
pick that up.
that's definitely like I need to get more into like Korean horror because I've heard great things about The Wailing. You just
That was
brought up,
great.
like
Oh.
to me, it really it's like I Saw the Devil or Ichi the Killer, an Old Boy. Those are kind of
That's
like
gonna be
the
my other one.
extent, yeah. So I really need to get more, but The Wailing was one I remember seeing. I think it was the pre-order for the 4K, and I was like, yeah, that looks interesting. Then all of a sudden, all these people were like, yeah,
It's
this is
so
a must
good,
buy.
man. Yeah,
Yeah, and
100%.
then what was the one that came out this year? Exhumed.
which
Was
I
that the one that
have.
came out
Yeah,
this year?
yeah. It's right over here, baby. Yeah, I'm not gonna leave, but
Yeah.
it's right over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like I said, so that's one thing. It's like you guys are very knowledgeable with in regards to that, but like for me, like I just love that Japanese because that's how I got into it was like again like Japanese Korean horror, and I just like deep dived into that. So I just love hearing it from you guys because there are some movies that I haven't seen that it's on my list, and of course Chris over here is freaking on Amazon buying that shit right now.
I did as well.
Yeah.
See? Three Extremes, I remember. I've never seen that, but I remember the cover very well just from when I was young. When did that come out? What year did that come out?
I want to say it's 2004. The imagery is so damn good, and there's some graphic scenes as well, which I love. And it's a good little Asian, kind of twist as well. Again, I just love it. So, Chris, you're next, bud.
So I'm gonna throw in a bonus one because I haven't done one yet, and it's a little newer. I'm gonna throw in Candyland. If nobody's seen this yet, this is
I
from
never heard of it.
BMI. Yeah, this one kind of came and went under the radar. It kind of blew up on VOD for a little bit. It's about a group of sex workers who work at a truck stop, like an 18-wheeler truck stop, and there's a religious cult kind of right outside the area. Dude, the church is so good. And she decides to leave the cult and kind of want to see what the life of these sex workers are when a killer begins taking out all the sex workers, and it goes to some pretty crazy places. So this is just a bonus. Candyland is a great newer one. But my fifth choice is actually one of my favorite Severin releases of all time. I'm so happy to finally have like a good copy of this movie, and it's The Last Horror Film with
I haven't
Joe
seen
Spinelli.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a crazy movie. So, I did realize I said Joe Spinell. This is Joe Spinell plays a delusional psychopath who thinks he's a filmmaker and he's obsessed with this actress, and he wants to track her down at the Cannes Film Festival and kind of talk her into starring in this movie that he's going to make. And what's so crazy about this is it's coming off of Maniac, which is the riff here with the Maniac 2. So we're coming off of Maniac, and they shot this movie kind of low key at Cannes Film Festival, and it's real weird. Like there's all this footage of real celebrities, real people, real Hollywood names and figures at Cannes Film Festival, and they shot right there this entire movie, and nobody knew. They had no permission from the festival, no permission from anybody, and built this entire movie around that. So they pretty much went incognito and was like, hey, we're going to make this really dirty, grungy slasher movie right under the nose of one of the most prestige French film festivals ever. And that's pretty much exactly what you get. And it's really cool though, because it is in a way kind of turning the genre in on itself and kind of showing what this obsession is with I guess kind of like our how we look at celebrities. Like I can tell you, I can point out 4 or 5 people I follow on Instagram that are just absolutely. I'm not a person to meet celebrities. That's not my thing. Many people are, but I think to a point there is a little bit of a weird, gross attachment to somebody who is only real on the screen. You know, we don't know them. People become obsessed, and obsession is a real thing, and that
Mhm.
comes full circle here. But what's really cool is like there's a great moment where Joe Spinell actually he projects an image of the actress on the screen, and then he sort of pseudo strips while standing in front of the projection, and it's really haunting. Really, really, really kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It feels like a scene that's too good for the
Mm.
quality of filmmaking that's here for the most part. But I'm really happy to have it. Severin did a great job with this, and I think it is criminally one of the most underseen slasher movies, especially coming out of the 80s, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I have to thank Josh because I got Maniac from him, and that was a first time watch for me.
Oh,
And
Maniac
that
is
movie was
great, right?
so damn
good.
good. So I can only imagine how good that movie is.
It's not
oh,
as deranged. It's definitely I think a more tame movie than
oh, really?
Maniac.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's more tamed, but it's interesting because when Severin does those alternate, like they did the Jaws 5 cover,
yeah.
or they did Evil Dead 5, or no, what was that Evil Dead one they did? That was Evil Dead. I forget which. Yeah, I thought it was Evil Dead 5 that they ripped on. You could always kind of see where they came from with that. And it's interesting because if you were to throw on Maniac and then put on Last Horror Film, you're like, oh, this is the same character, just in
Mhm.
an alternate universe. It's so weird. It even has the same, you know how Maniac is all about capturing just dirty, grungy New York City?
Mhm.
This kind of feels like the one dirty bit at the film festival that doesn't belong and would really stand out if it made itself known.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really it's really odd, and I kind of like I remember watching it and I was like, I don't think they got permission to shoot here. That's why we're in a moving car driving past security right now.
That actually kind of reminds me of it's not a horror movie, but it just reminds me of gosh, what movie was it with Bruce? It's a Bruce Lee movie. The God damn, what movie is it? I can't remember, but I'm drawing a blank right now. Is that they use actual footage of his funeral?
Oh,
Is it
and I have the
is
box. I can't. Yeah. But I can't remember what the hell movie that is. But it just reminded me of that, like actual just footage that shouldn't really belong in a movie. But
I thought it was.
yeah.
Hold on.
when you say it,
not-
I'll know it.
Is it Goodbye Bruce Lee? His last game of death.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's Goodbye Bruce Lee, right?
No, I think it's is it Wave of the Dragon?
I think
No, Game of Death. I think it's Game of Death.
Okay, yeah, because I know there's like in this set here, there's like 3 movies that use. Well, one of them used pictures of his corpse on the poster, like
What?
his corpse in the coffin on the poster
that's
to
tasty.
sell that he was dead. Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Wow.
That's fucked up, man. Holy cow. John, you're next, man.
All right, the last one. It's not one movie; it's a trilogy of movies. But I figured if we are going to be talking about a Maniac, we might as well talk about the Maniac Cop. You know, that to me,
Oh yeah.
there's a trilogy of movies that doesn't get talked about enough. And the thing is, that's crazy with me and it bothers me is Synops has the first one on Blu-ray, but these 2 Blue Underground 4Ks, some of
Beautiful.
the best 4Ks I've ever seen, especially Maniac Cop 3. And for a series of movies that are just about a cop who died, came back to life, and he's just seeking revenge, to make that last an entire trilogy and actually have it be pretty compelling, at least in my opinion, especially if you're into just a bunch of 80s cheesy and then we went into the early 90s, you can't go wrong with then the Maniac Cop movies. The first one actually has Bruce Campbell and Tom Atkins. Then I believe Bruce Campbell's in the second one too, but the third one kind of goes off the rails, but I like it still. I like it a lot.
Which one
Yeah.
has the crazy ass chase scene and a car scene? Is that the second one?
I think it's the first one when they jump in the water at the very end of it.
No. There's another one where I think it's the second one where and it's just like a ridiculous car chase scene. And anyway, so
Those movies too. I think 1 and 2 broke a record for longest fire stunt.
Oh, really?
Like at the ending, I think the first one broke a record, and then they did it even longer in the second one in the church
That was
at the end of Maniac Cop 2, which is real weird to think. Like, you know, fire stunts obviously they go into every genre, but to think Maniac Cop held the
Of all
record at
movies,
one
right?
point,
Like-
you know what I mean? Yeah, of all. And that's weird. The rights thing is weird with them, considering Bill Lustig owns Blue Underground.
Yeah, it makes
So
no
it's
sense.
weird.
I'm very confused by it, and it just feels very out of place because I think the first one's still the best movie, but that's the only one that doesn't have this beautiful transfer.
Yeah, seriously, man. I got to thank you for the Maniac suggestions for the 2 and 3 because they're good 80 movies. But yeah, it's the 4K transfers is crazy from Blue Underground.
They do great work. We don't get enough from them. I always felt like.
Daniel.
Yeah, I like the first Maniac Cop. I don't remember if I've ever seen 2 and 3. I might have to check those out. That's a good rec.
2 is good. 3 is a mess.
Blink and you'll miss Bruce Campbell, man. I wish he was.
Yeah, I
Oh.
know, right?
Mm.
That's why, like, when I saw it was another Vestron one, Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat. It has Bruce
Mhm.
Campbell, and I went into it expecting him to be a cameo like Maniac Cop, but no, he's one of the main characters. So that was a really nice surprise. That's a good movie. Side recommendation. Okay, so I have a box set. This is like my favorite box set I've got in such a long time, so I talk about it as much as I can. But it's Indicator's Mexico Macabre box set, and it's basically 4 Mexican horror films from 1959 to 1963, and they are so good. Like, the thing I would say about them is they look and they appear a lot like the gothic horror movies from Italy around this time period, like the Mario Bava and stuff, but they're so much less slow, and they have such more interesting plots and like better scripts than the Italian stuff did. So they're really, really good. And I'll just show you the contents in here. So this is the first one, Black Pit of Dr. M, which is awesome. About this doctor trying to communicate with a ghost to try to come back from the dead, and it's goes to some really dark places. This one, The Brainiac, is just like a wacky monster movie, so it's not great, but it's fun. It's fun enough. The Witch's Mirror is so good. It is about this this guy and his mistress who murder his wife, and then this witch helps her come back from the dead to get revenge. And this is interesting. This is The Curse of the Crying Woman. But what it is it's a La Llorona story, which is like the most famous Mexican ghost story. Like The Conjuring did a La Llorona movie. The Conjuring universe did a few years ago. But this is like an early version of it, and it is awesome. It has such cool, creepy ghost imagery. So yeah, this thing is like just my favorite Blind Buy box set like I've maybe ever got. So I really, really hope Indicator will do like a volume 2 one of these days. So love this thing. I'm
happy you brought that up because as much as I love Italian, especially of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they have a serious problem with pacing.
Yeah.
That I don't think nobody ever talks about a serious problem.
Yeah. And I've been getting more into Mexican films lately, and they largely don't. Like, they seem like they're just better written. Yeah, Mexican horror has become like my newfound love lately. Really, really enjoying it.
That set looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, an Indicator at the end of the month, they're releasing a double pack box set of 2 vampire films. It's like El Vampiro. And I've heard they're really good, so I have it pre-ordered from Diabolic. Super excited for it.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that one blind, just out of
Nice.
like
Yeah,
seeing
me too.
you talk about those Indicator sets. Because I missed out on Mexico Macabre. I think that's out of print now.
Is it?
No, doesn't surprise
'cause-
me, but that's too bad.
Yeah, so the Indicator stuff I've been jumping on much quicker recently. What was the one with oh god, there was one I just saw and I meant to jump on it. I forget. It's about the Hollywood producers and directors who almost got in a plane crash and then they started making religious horror, or they started making like religious horror after. I forget. It'll randomly come to me. But another set I've been meaning to get.
It is region free to Critic After
Nice.
Dark. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask that. Cool. Yeah, I guess he is from up north in Canada. So Um, thank you so much. Yeah, I love that backslide. Yeah, you showed that off before. I want to say in our
Yeah,
interview.
I think I did. So
Yeah,
brought it back around.
I love it. Hell yeah. Josh, what about you?
Oh, man. So we're talking about Solo. No, I'm just kidding. This is another one that it's a Spanish flick that I really really like. The Eyes of My Mother. I don't think a lot of people have seen
Oh,
this. I know that
yeah.
it was on Netflix for a while, but
That is a great movie.
Yeah, this is a ripping title, man. It's got some gore, it's got some kind of torturous stuff, but it's really well made. Great music, the black and white, the story. Yeah, I'm big fan. Eyes of My Mother.
So
Me
what's it
too.
about? I haven't seen that.
So it's basically like this family, somebody kind of comes to their house and they knock on the door and it's a stranger and something happens to the mom, and the trauma from that first altercation, is passed on to the daughter, and then she goes on to kind of commit these torturous crimes herself and keep people locked up out in the shed. Really cool movie, really artistic. Super good.
Yeah,
This is
that's a
magnet
movie
release.
that when I first saw it, I was just amazed at how it was constantly able to top itself. Like something would happen, I'd be like, "Well, that's clearly the craziest thing that's going to happen in this movie." But then something else would happen, I'd be like, "Oh no, that's the craziest thing," and it just
Hold
keeps
my
going
beer.
and going until it's
Over
over.
and over. Yeah, super good. This Blu-ray looks like it should be in 4K. I feel like black and white always kind of has the best
Oh.
transfers anyway, but
Black and white
looks-
4Ks are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mhm. For show.
big fan.
Well, I do really want to talk about it, so why the hell not? And that is I Saw the Devil. I Saw the Devil, I think, is one of the best revenge films. If you guys haven't seen it, see the damn movie. It's a South Korean film. I don't know if it's technically horror, but there is some the theme is basically a police officer, his wife dies, and it's pretty damn graphic of what happens to her, and he just gets revenge, and it's so beautiful, man. It is so cool because it's just a cat and mouse type of movie, and he captures the mofo but then like releases him, and it gets even better. And the ending is, honestly, I wasn't expecting the ending, at least how it ended, I should say, was pretty unexpected but spectacular in a weird twisted way. But yeah, I highly recommend it, man. Love
Is that
the film.
Turbine too?
This is Umbrella
Oh,
Entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it, man.
It's like the first 5 minutes of that movie is, I mean, the whole movie's beautiful, but the first 5 minutes of that movie are gorgeous, and it sucked me in right away. Like, because that movie's pretty long, right? I think that's over.
It,
Like 2 hours?
15 maybe.
too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's a great ending, great beginning, like what you just said, and the acting. The actors are actually one of them. This guy is actually in 3 Extremes. He's the director and cut, and the guy from Old Boy, the main Old Boy.
That
He's
guy's
in here. Yeah, he's in this movie as well. But so the acting is phenomenal in this movie. But it is like my boy Bo just said, so brutal, Frank. It is badass, man. Because there's some dark scenes, and it's fantastic. I love me dark films. So yeah, guys, so that is the top 5. Is there any other movies that you guys want to talk about before we just kind of head out? Guys, I mean, we talked a whole bunch, but I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I love talking about horror movies, but yeah, Chris, go ahead. I see that.
This is one I grabbed just as a bonus. Castle Freak.
That's the original.
Oh, hell yeah.
What the
Yeah,
hell's
this
Castle
is Stuart Gordon, post Reanimator. It's him, Barbara Crampton, and Jeffrey Combs. And Jeffrey
Oh, wow.
Combs, yeah,
Also, the whole
Jeff-
Reanimator from Beyond people.
Yeah, it's that
It's
whole
another
crew.
Lovecraft movie.
Yep, yeah. Except
Brian Usna, I think.
Yep. Yeah, they so it's Jeffrey Combs and his wife are kind of having some marital problems, and Jeffrey Combs gets through a death a hold of this castle, and they move into the castle as kind of like they move their family as an attempt to, I guess, rebuild their relationship, and there is a monster living in the basement, essentially, is the way that I put it. And yeah, it gets crazy from there. But Reanimator is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think, like, especially Stuart Gordon, Return to Living Dead 3, I don't think it's talked about enough for that from him. Castle Freak, I know the conversation kind of picked back up a little bit when the remake came out, but that wasn't very good. And then this was on, I think, the first season of Joe Bob when he came back. This was
really?
Episode 1 or 2. I remember it was in that first 3. But I just got this from the MVD sale finally for like $6. And MVD is always doing sales. So if you run across this one, grab it and check it out because it's a golden one.
Nice. Anyone else recommendations or anything before?
I didn't even see that. This is the new Hell House box set that just came out.
It looks like a black box. What the hell?
See if I can get some light on it. My dog ate my technical difficulties. Anyway, just got this. This is the Hell House one.
Talk about it, baby. I love it.
I just got it, so I haven't actually watched. It's so dark, like it's maroon.
It's fucking taking a selfie,
dude. Yeah, I mean, Hell House Origins, Carmichael Manor. I thought that thing was awesome. So pretty stoked to see how the transfers look. There's not for Blu-ray. I don't really think that they exist. So this is Umbrella. If you can, it's so dark.
Yeah, that's looks like that's Lenticular's limited edition. I have mine arriving hopefully next week.
Gonna be excited.
But yeah, I love the 1 and 4. I think 4 Carmichael Manor or Manor Carmichael, whatever it's called. That's a fantastic movie, and it leads up to one of the movies, and it's pretty badass. So yeah, love it. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just speed round some Vinegar Syndrome because I didn't do any Vinegar Syndrome. One of my favorites, the Devonsville Terror, which is like a small New England town witch film, where they got a history of witch burning and coming back to haunt them. Really good. Blood Delirium. So compared to you guys, I am a baby when it comes to like disturbing horror. Like I don't like to push myself too much, but this is probably one of the most demented movies that I have seen. It's an Italian film, and it's kind of like if Vertigo was extremely depraved, and it's actually really good because it's like really beautifully well made. It's not like, some like zero budget backdoor movie. Like it's really good. Just because I already grabbed it, Cruel Britannia is a new box set of UK thrillers that they put out. But I've watched one movie on there so far, which is called Craze, and it is awesome. It's starring Jack Palance as like a pagan cult leader serial killer going around killing people to offer up to his god. It is so fun. Jack Palance is having such a great time in that.
Love Jack Palance, man.
Oh, the Palance.
He's so
my
great.
number one guy. And then maybe my favorite Vinegar Syndrome discovery ever is only kind of a horror movie, and I felt empowered to grab it by you guys saying like, oh, it's not really horror, is Burning Paradise, which is a Hong Kong film, and it's almost like gothic horror meets martial arts action, and it mostly takes place in this prison, these people trying to defeat this evil warden. It is so freaking awesome. It's like one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. So there you go, my Vincent speed round.
Love it.
I do want to throw into, for those who don't know Cauldron Films, I just got this in. This is the Houses of Doom set from Cauldron. I haven't watched any yet. I've only heard of these, but for anybody who doesn't know and might be interested, these are 4 movies, and 2 were directed by Lucio Fulci, 2 by Umberto Lenzi, and basically they were approached to film like a 4-movie TV series. And I guess they were like, yeah, these are our guys to do that. And then what they turned in, they were like, yeah, we're going to cancel this immediately. We're not doing that. And,
That's terrible.
and they lock them away, and they got some DVD releases and stuff, but Cauldron just restored all of them and threw them in here with two of them. So both Lucio Fulci films have the soundtrack, but some brand new special features. And for the $90 price tag, the set is like packed out. So
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, this is a good one. So definitely check this one out if you haven't yet.
Just wanted to ask you
Nice.
guys, since you guys were talking screwed up horror, any of you seen a Serbian film? That was one that I accidentally saw.
No, no, sir.
Yeah,
I knew,
yeah.
I knew that.
I have.
Like, I just had a hunch, but I figured I'd just ask out loud.
So I don't ever sell stuff. That's kind of
love
my
you,
thing.
Josh.
It's
I'm sorry.
it's very rare I sell things, but when I was kind of curating my collection a little bit, I had the Unearthed Films one that's now like crazy out of print, and I never watched it. And I was like, oh, let me throw this on one day. And it was a Sunday at like 2 p.m. And
Oh, what a day to watch
What-
it, right?
There is no good time to watch that movie. First of all,
Oh, man.
yeah,
Monday at 2. What a day.
I was like, yeah, I remember the time because I looked and I was like, I got to the first oh god, the first baby scene, and I was
Yeah.
like, what time is it? Okay.
Time
All right,
check.
so, yeah. I was
Yeah.
kind of doing this. I was like, all right, it's time to go.
it's so crazy because that film it's well shot. Like
It
it's,
is. And it's got a good score.
It's
got a
so
good score.
stupid. Like it's well directed in a weird
looks
way. It's
really
well
good.
directed. Yeah, but the content is
Yeah.
is pretty fucking crazy, man.
When you don't know people, you're like, let's not pull that out. Let's just leave that on the shelf.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but you know what's so funny though, because I have this conversation all the time. I'm a loyal defender of Cannibal Holocaust, not the animal stuff. I watched the PETA version, but a lot of people kind of disregard it right away. Like they're like, "Oh, that movie's disgusting." But to Ruggero Deodato at that time, that movie is incredibly political, and it's a very, very, very harsh statement on kind of things that he was seeing as when he was young on television and the propaganda that was being put out. And
That
same
whole
with
Mondo
Serbian film.
subgenre, yeah, dude.
Yeah, same with Serbian film. At that time, even though the movie's under a lot of fiasco, that movie made a ton of really, really, really strong points to people kind of in that region at that time. And for as harsh as it is, a lot of people kind of hold that as a bit of a like a dark masterpiece of
No,
political
I've heard about
storytelling,
that.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Listen, I understand that. I can respect that too.
Well, really quick, I just want to mention a speed round since Daniel just did it. There were some movies that I just really wanted to talk about super quick. Kind of just messed up. This was the band film Nightmare. Nightmare is fucked up. You know what? There's some graphic scenes and everything, but I don't know. I think just because maybe all the messed up films that I watch, I don't think it's like that bad. But
Is that the Nightmare from 1981? There's a lot of movies with that title.
This is 19. Yeah, what year is it? Yeah. Good question. I know it's Video Nasty, Romano Scavellini's. But yeah, I think it is 1980.
Okay, that's
that's
showing at the horror movie marathon that I'm going to this weekend, and I haven't seen
you
it.
serious?
So I was gonna get excited if that was the same one. It's the 81.
No, this
yeah,
is
it's
like
the 81.
famous.
Yeah,
This is the
that's
famous
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
that's the 81 film, and it's pretty tame. It just has a wicked decapitation in it, and that's kind of the extent of,
yeah. It's on the back of this. I don't know if I could show that. So
there's
But
a
it's
great
pretty good.
novelization of that, by the way, that Severin put out. It's a really good read, and it fleshes out that movie really well.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's on Severin's website. It's like $15.
Wow. Something really quick is The Sacraments. I
Oh,
fucking
dude.
love this movie. It is so damn
Banger.
dark.
Very good.
My god. Yeah, I went and in a little Ty West dive with I already saw it before, but I simply love it after every watch, which is House of the Devil.
Mhm.
And yeah, someone just recommended this movie, and I was like, I loved it, man. I bought it like literally right after watching it. I bought it
It's
because
so
it's so damn. It feels realistic. The acting is so damn good. Oh my god, yeah. If you haven't seen The Sacrament, see that damn movie. It's my second favorite Ty West film. Favorite is House
You
of
like
the
the Innkeepers?
I do like the Innkeepers, but I don't think it's as I don't.
It's not.
like. I don't know.
It's solid.
Any
Yeah.
In a Valley of Violence fans?
Mhm.
I
That
love that
one.
one. That's
I
his
haven't seen it.
Western.
It's amazing how that guy just chameleons his way
So
into
many different
genres.
things. He finally got
what's it called?
recognized.
It's called In a Valley of Violence. It's a Western with starring Ethan Hawke and John Travolta, and it's real good. I really like it.
What the hell? That I'm writing that one down. All right.
Huh?
It has like the violence of a horror film from that era, though. So it's like a
Really? That's
Western with
awesome.
horror movie violence.
What the
I
hell?
feel
That's-
like that
Not like
and
Bone
Bone.
Tomahawk. Oh
Yeah.
Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
yeah,
not Bone
those two.
Tomahawk crazy. I don't want to set your expectations too high, but
It's like that, and then there's another one. Has anybody ever seen The Proposition? That's a Western that
oh,
is
man,
directed by
I've
John
been meaning to watch
Hillcoat.
that forever. No,
Yeah, that's another one that kind of has the violence of a horror movie and the atmosphere of a horror movie, but it's more of a revenge tale. That's a really good one too.
Ravenous. Except that Ravenous kind of is a horror movie, but that's another
Ravenous
one
is
I'd put
so
in there.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one. I haven't seen that one.
Cannibal
Yeah.
style.
Mm.
So good.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. And then let's see.
Best soundtrack ever.
A Tale of Two Sisters. Love it. Paranormal, wonderful South Korean horror movie. And City of the Living Dead.
Mm.
Yes,
I love
one of my
this.
all-time favorites.
I love
a
this
good one.
cover. This is a cauldron. It's my favorite slipcover that I have in my collection. I simply love it.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is the start of the Gates of Hell trilogy.
There's
It's-
two
yeah,
releases
I-
of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
this one.
That one. There's
that one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I got. That one's
Oh man, I fucking love this movie. It is so damn good, and there's some brutal kills, especially with the damn father. What the hell?
Dude, the
my favorite full
throwing,
too. That one's so good.
the throwing up of the innards in that is
Oh my god,
crazy.
dude!
So crazy.
Dude, I had when I was watching this. Of course, I had the volume up. My wife's like, "What the hell's that sound?" And I had to turn it down.
I remember
nothing.
yeah. I remember being like, oh, and then the whole liver comes out, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, dude, it's beautiful. 10
You
out
just
of 10.
watch it like, surely this can't keep going, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not done, right?
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, so damn good. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been a freaking blast. I really appreciate it. Guys, seriously, follow them. These are wonderful people. Chris from Bearded Film Guy. Actually, let's go one by one really quick. Again, to tell everyone about your channel. If you have something coming up, promote the shit out of your channel, guys. So go ahead.
yeah.
Chris.
So my channel is Bearded Film Guy. I'm still sort of I started my YouTube channel about a year and a half ago, and it's sort of been in and out with some life changes and stuff, but I'm finally consistent. I actually just, thanks to the stream and thanks to you, Frank, I just passed 800 subscribers. I was at 799 before on, so I did pass that.
Yeah,
which I'm
congrats, buddy.
stoked about. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get into like some deep dives. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into Houses of Doom when I get back from my honeymoon. We're doing some deep dives. I have a video series coming out where I'm watching every single Video Nasty. So I'm going to be getting into that.
Nice.
Yeah, doing some crazy stuff. I'm trying to work on a new live show, kind of something like this. I'm going to get people on, but I'm trying to do something unique with it. So I'm working on that as well. But yeah, I'm also on Instagram. That's Bearded Film Guy as well. And yeah, that's about it. I'm just a dude who loves talking about movies.
You're a dude who loves
Nice.
movies.
Whoa, there's
I'm
another
also-
one.
I'm also bearded. a
I
film
know.
guy.
That's
Yeah.
the twist.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
See that?
That's
Also mid-level.
Mhm.
So-
And it starts with a C.
Mhm.
We're talking about Cody from the Bearded Film Guy, guys.
Yeah.
Or no, dude who loves film.
What's up,
movies.
dudes and dudettes?
So yeah. John,
Yeah.
who was actually he was on the live stream last week. So there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm John from Let's Talk Entertainment Media. You can always find me over at my channel where we talk all things movies, do 4K Blu-ray reviews mainly. And we have the Let's Talk Physical Media on Sundays, Q&A show Saturday, and same thing every week. Just come hang out if you want to talk movies, and you can always find me here on Tuesdays with Frank.
No kidding. I love it. Daniel.
You can find me at Mid-Level Media. It's your hub for all things physical media and entertainment. You can find me at the Cobwebs channel. I feel like I've gotten in a groove where I know what I do now. So I do list videos and rankings. I do in-depth old horror movie reviews, and I sometimes do spoiler-free new horror movie reviews. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Kenny Levels. I appreciate it.
I will say, man, some of the best. I'm always shocked when I see a new review from you that's 27 minutes on one movie. I'm always like, hell yeah, I cannot wait to see how this goes.
I just kind of kept pushing it, and they got that long, and people seem to still watch them. So I'm like, okay, I guess I can do this.
You're at the video essay length now, and I'm into it. So,
hell yeah.
Thanks, man.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm Josh. Beyond the Grave Media. Started this like 4 months ago. I was actually watching a lot of Cobwebs. I was like, man, he's kind of into the same kind of movies and kind of deep dive and deep cut stuff. So I was just watching him with Ken one day. Or this is Ken, my bad. And then I
can't be Ken. I have the unholy.
He doesn't have the slip. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ooh.
I kind of like to get into the darker side of stuff, and then I cover some kind of more popular stuff if people are into it. But I like to shine a light on stuff that not everybody wants to talk about. But I try to have fun doing it. Yeah, happy to be here.
I love it. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I love y'all. So thank you, guys. Yeah, again, subscribe to them. They're wonderful people, and thank you guys for joining. Have a good one, guys. I appreciate it.